spring is a month of change. The temperature from the beginning of spring, the 1st of March, is between 8 and 11 degrees. And by the time we get to the end of spring, the 31st of May, well, that maximum average temperature increases to between 16 and 20 degrees. So there's a huge variation between the beginning and the end of the month. And in between that, of course, we see a bit of everything. And spring so far has actually been above average on the mean temperatures. So this is the mean temperature over the whole 24 hours of day, both the minimum and the maximum temperature. And you can see here, this is the average line, that dark black line, and we are running above average. Yes, we have had some colder periods, but we've also had some warm periods. Just earlier this week, we had 26.6 degrees as our maximum temperature, a very unusual temperature to see for this early on in April indeed. So temperatures will be closer to average this weekend, if not a little bit below. So it is going to be a little bit cooler, but what happens into next week after this weekend is out the way? Well, the most likely pressure pattern for the week as a whole is for low pressure to sit up to the northwest of the country, but high pressure is actually dominating both to the south and to the east of the UK. And that will likely pull in drier and slightly warmer weather through the week. However, having said that, where we're close to this area of low pressure up to the northwest, here is where we're most likely to see some wetter and at times cooler weather. And you can see that pattern here on the average precipitation through the week, how much rain we're expecting through the week compared to average for this time of year. Now we're in spring, which are some of the drier months of the year. So where it's white here for much of the UK, actually we'll see precipitation rainfall around average. So in fact, it's not going to be particularly wet. And for many eastern areas where we're closer to the area of high pressure towards the east of the UK, it's looking even drier than average. But for the west, parts of Northern Ireland, western Scotland, actually a bit wetter than average. Now let's look further ahead into the last week of April. Well, that pressure pattern changes slightly more. So this pink, this area of high pressure, actually becomes more dominant to the north of the UK. And in fact, across the vast majority of the UK, we've got more high pressure dominating. So we could see some more prolonged, drier weather. But notice the blues down to the south here, across parts of Spain, Portugal, more southwestern areas of Europe. Now that could spread its influence further north to more southern areas of the UK. So it could be a little bit more unsettled across the south coast of the UK. But all of this would continue to bring an increasing chance of slightly warmer than average temperatures. And once again, when we look at how dry it's going to be compared to average, well, for the week as a whole, these oranges show and the whites show that it's either going to be around average or a little bit drier. So I don't think there's going to be a huge amount of persistent rainfall in the forecast for the next couple of weeks. And as I mentioned, it is going to get a bit warmer as well. Those average temperatures are increasing climatologically. It should get warmer as we move through April and towards May. And I think it's going to. So we can look at how the models are predicting the temperature. This is the ensemble data from the European long-range model for the next 10 days. This is for somewhere close to the Midlands. You can see the temperatures, the maximum temperatures, the peaks in these lines increasing ever so much. So you can see from this weekend, we're around 8 to 10 degrees as the maximum temperature, and those peaks come up closer to 15 or 16 degrees, if not a little bit higher by the 19th of April. So that trend of temperatures increasing is going to continue after this weekend gets out of the way. The other thing to notice though is we've still got some quite low dips in those temperatures throughout the rest of April. And so those that are wondering about frost through the next few weeks, well, we're not out the woods just yet. It's not really until we get to May, if we look back at our average, our months on average, that we really lose that risk of frost overnight. As we get into May, we get a chance of less than 1 day over the whole month of a frost forming overnight. But through the rest of April, there's still a chance it could move in, particularly for more northern areas, particularly across more rural areas as well. So maximum temperatures will increase, but when will we start to see that? Well, here I have the probability of seeing maximum temperatures above 15 degrees, a temperature I think that makes a real difference to how it feels. So through this weekend, it is going to be a little bit chilly. So there's a very slim chance of seeing anywhere above 15 degrees. You'll notice that across the near continent, we do start to see that risk increasing. They see warmer temperatures and higher temperatures. And then through Sunday and Monday, through the daytime, we start to see just a flash of those brighter colours, the greater probability of those temperatures increasing above 15 degrees. But then from Tuesday, did you see that? We saw colours brighter across parts of central England and eastern areas, and then that pushes up to more northern areas of England by Wednesday. By Thursday, that risk pushes even to the far north of Scotland. And by Friday, once again, we've got that chance further north across a wide area of England, Wales, also up towards Scotland and some areas of Northern Ireland too. That's by Saturday as well. So I think that shows us that things will improve if you're looking for warmer days as we move into the end of April.